Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's officially that time of the year again. We are officially in finals mode. Now, if you've watched some of these videos in the past, you guys know that sometimes I do tend to push things off to the last minute and end up having to cram for a couple of these finals. However, I do have to cut myself a little bit of slack because unlike any other exam season in the past, Princeton has actually changed their schedule so that the entire semester started a couple of weeks earlier so that we could take our finals before the holiday season. Unlike every other year I've been at school, we've had our finals after the holiday season, even closer to January. So I'm not gonna lie, this year did catch me a little bit by surprise, but it wouldn't be a Nick Chae video if we were pushing things off until the last minute. So today's just gonna be another video about how I'm gonna be cramming for these finals. Let's get into it. So this year I actually have one final paper and then I have two tests that I need to take. The paper is for my psychology class and we're basically talking about some policies that we should implement to combat COVID-19 this coming winter. That has to be about 15 pages long. I'm about 8 or 9 pages in, so today I'm really gonna try and crank out the majority of that. And then Wednesday and Thursday I have my finals for my financial investments class and then my geology class. It's about 11 a.m. right now on a Sunday, so yeah, I gotta get to work. Alright, so for the past few hours, I've been putting the finishing touches on this essay. For me personally, as an economics major, I don't typically have a lot of classes where my finals are papers. However, for our school and for a lot of other universities out there, we have something called Dean's Date, which is a deadline for any written exams, which is also going to be earlier than the finals, so I can focus my energy for studying for those tests once I get this paper out of the way. Right now, I'm about 12 pages in, but this is the perfect opportunity for me to share with you guys the sponsor of today's video, Grammarly. Now, I've been working with Grammarly for a couple of videos over the past year, and honestly, it's one of the best software that I can recommend for you guys because it's actually something I've used throughout my entire time in college and is honestly a lifesaver. Now, if you don't know by now, Grammarly is a digital writing assistant that literally makes writing your papers, essays, emails so much more coherent and will make you stand out, and it's honestly one of the best ways to ensure that I don't have any grammatical errors, spelling typos, and it ensures all my writing is clear and coherent. Especially when I'm writing something like a 15-page final essay, I want to make sure that all my thoughts are neatly organized, and Grammarly makes it easier than ever. So right about now, since I have a pretty good rough draft of where I want the paper to be, I'm going to import the entire document into my Grammarly homepage so that it can analyze the entire essay and give me some really good feedback. Alright, because this is an actual essay for my class, I'm really only going to be able to show you guys the introduction where I just give an overview of the prompt itself. So right off the bat, a couple of suggestions they made is going to be changing it from a passive voice, removing commas, using consistent punctuation. All of that is going to be super important while you guys are writing any sort of essay throughout your time in college. In addition to that, probably one of the most handy features is going to be their plagiarism detector, which will analyze all the text in your essay and ensure it's not being plagiarized from any other website. It's completely free to download, but the premium version is where it really stands out because it offers you so many more suggestions, and it's honestly going to save you so much time and help you guys get better grades. So if you head to the link in my description, you can get a discount to save on Grammarly Premium today. Alright, since I've made some pretty good progress on my essay, now I'm going to switch over to studying a little bit for my economics exam. If you watched these videos in the past, you know one of my top recommendations is to divide your day up into the different types of exams you need to study for. Rather than spending several hours trying to cram for one exam, being able to split that up into shorter intervals of intense studying is not only going to be more effective, but it's going to help you retain more information because you're not going to be so bogged down on studying the same subject for so many hours. However, this economics exam is going to be pretty brutal. It's definitely one of the hardest classes I've taken, so there's a lot of information that I need to cover in the next 3 days. But really, I'm going to take it one step at a time. My usual plan of action is to review the notes because that's going to help me get an overall understanding of the concepts that are going to be on the exam. Secondly, it's going to be running through the lecture slides. Finally, it's going to be taking the practice exams. But enough talking, let's get to studying. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, it is day 2 of cramming for these final exams. Right now, I'm running through the practice final that they provided. In all honesty, this is probably one of the best ways to study for these exams because this gives you a good outline and understanding of what types of concepts were covered in previous exams so that you know what you need to study for, and if there's any topics that you're particularly lacking in, this is going to help you narrow down those topics so that you can pinpoint your studying even further. As of right now, I'm going to try and focus on getting this exam solved as best as I can and then looking at the solutions to ensure that I know how to solve these, and hopefully that's going to be the best way for me to prepare for this exam. Later, I'm also going to add the finishing touches to my final paper, and then for today, we should be chilling. Alright, so I realized when I've made these videos in the past, I've never really talked about the software and applications that I use to help me study, especially when it's for cumulative exams like finals. Obviously, if I'm writing something like an essay, Grammarly is honestly one of the biggest lifesavers, as I mentioned before. However, a couple of programs that I found very useful, especially when I'm taking notes, are going to be Adobe Acrobat and Notion. Now, the reason I think Adobe Acrobat is so helpful is that it's honestly a very powerful PDF editor. Not only can you annotate notes on there, add comments, highlight text, reorganize pages, but especially around final season, I found that it's super helpful to combine all of my notes together so that I have a cohesive binder with all the notes from this semester. It's very simple to use. All you have to do is click combine files and just drag and drop all the lecture notes that you want to combine. And I just think that helps organize my notes so that I don't have to open up 10 different PDFs just to get all the information I need to. So that main binder is on my laptop right now, but on my iPad, I actually have a Notion file where I basically write down important equations, the summary of the topic, and then a couple of key points that I might need to know for the exam. In addition, because this final is going to be open book, basically what I've done is just take screenshots of the notes and then import them directly into Notion so that everything is just very neatly organized. If I have to find something pretty quick during this exam, I know exactly where it will be, and having these summaries and formulas are going to be super helpful, especially while I'm taking this exam. And then in addition to those two programs, I also find it very helpful to write some handwritten notes, obviously in our Caraway notebook, which is going to be available in the link in our description. However, this is where I jot down a couple of additional formulas that I might need to find pretty quickly, so that all I have to do is just open up the notebook and I know exactly where to find them as well. But as of right now, I've gone through both of the practice exams. I've also run through the review lecture slides, and now I'm just doing a final overview and adding on some extra notes to make sure that I have all of my bases covered. Alright, so I just went through and did the final review of all 15 pages for my psychology essay. In all honesty, this is probably one of the longer papers I've had to write for a final. However, one of my best tips, especially when it comes to tackling big projects like this, is obviously going to be splitting it up over a period of time so that you're not trying to cram it all in a single day. I actually got to start on this essay about a week ago and really just try to put in a little bit of work every single day so that it didn't feel like a behemoth of a task that I couldn't accomplish. But the interesting thing about the topic of this paper was I was researching potential ways to combat COVID this coming winter. There were a lot of interesting articles that I found, but overall, I think it's a pretty decent paper, and as of right now, I'm gonna submit it. So. Alright, now that that weight is lifted off my shoulders, I'm gonna switch all my effort into studying for this economics exam. Alright, it's currently 12:15. My exam starts in about 15 minutes. Right now I'm just doing some last minute overview, making sure I understand all the formulas and any last minute things I might need to know. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to drop a like down below, comment if you guys want to see more studying videos, and as always folks, don't stress, finesse.